Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Saka here, and welcome back to another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 season, the 2019 mod. And already things are kicking off here at California, the 2-mile D-shaped oval. Alex Bowman there on the pole decides to get down to the apron. It looks like he is going to be giving up his first starting spot. Rough luck for Bowman. I don't know if he's going to make it out on the track, but massive points hit for sure. But behind us, inside on the next row, is Brandon in that WreckingandRacing.com podcast Toyota. If you're a fan of NASCAR and are looking for a new podcast to listen to, head on over to WreckingandRacing.com and tune in weekly. So let's see if we can get our first win of the year here at California. We're behind the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I missed the start right there. I jumped a little bit too early. Brandon right there on our rear bumper decides to go to the outside and put us 3 wide. The restarts here at California and their sister track of Michigan is really big and really tight. We're going to take it easy here on the opening drive. Just don't slide up into the second and third lane. Behind you can see 3 wide with Larson, Logano, and Keselowski. Brandon behind that 9, and Tyler Reddick with a good run to the outside there. Reddick looking for a good run, and Kyle Busch is out in front for 25 laps here, and they should tick by very quickly. Typically, if we get through the first lap under green, the rest of the race is green as well, as the cars start to space themselves out. But Brandon going 4 wide under Elliott, Harvick, and Hamlin. And he packs it in there, slides up, steps out. Brandon reels it back in, loses a little bit of speed on the bottom, but he makes it work, passing 3 cars in 1 turn, and he's got the car back under him now. We're 3 wide with Truex and Hamlin. We need to get away from these guys as best we can, try to drive past these guys and get single file. Kyle Busch still leads the way, and we are surrounded by those Gibbs teammates. Harvick up top, and 3 wide behind us now with Reddick, Truex, and Harvick. Larson looking to the inside of Reddick as well. And Chase Elliott up here in the UniFirst colors, up here with Ricky Stenhouse having a good run in that 47. Ricky slows us up. We have to roll out of the gas. That gives Reddick the inside line. We'll try to get a launch off of turn 2. We may be 3 wide here by the end of the straightaway. Now Chase looks to be pretty quick, as well as Stenhouse will be 2 wide. We'll have to give up the bottom here and try to roll the top, and Stenhouse off the gas. Let's turn under him and see if we can get power down, get that draft off the 8. And he looks to under Chase Elliott. Chase moves down to block, gives up the spot. We'll get pulled by Stenhouse, and in the mirror you can see them starting to separate and fan out. Brandon to the lead around the 18. And now it's just us and Kyle Busch. And I think we'll be able to track down Kyle here. The way the AI usually run at this track is they are very quick for about 5 laps on the open, and then tire wear really starts to take hold of them, and they drop like a stone. We'll see if that is the ongoing trend for this particular race. But as long as we can get a good pull off of Kyle here down the straightaway, we'll be okay. And in a few laps time, Brandon may catch that car in the distance going into turn 1. I believe that is Alex Bowman, so he has rejoined the race, but he is nearly 1 lap down from the pole. And if we stay green, poor Alex has shot himself in the foot. As far as this race is concerned, it's a long season. This is only race 3, and there's 33 more to go after this, so still plenty of time for Alex to get a win and continue on. But it doesn't look like that will be today unless something major happens, which is a possibility. In the middle of 3 and 4, there's still 2 and 3 wide back there. All it takes is 1 slip, and off 2 or 3 cars go, and 1 caution can bring everyone back. Fuel window is 17 laps to go. That means only 7 laps need to be run. We can probably go past halfway and split the difference of the tire wear directly in half, or if we think we want to make up some time, staying out a little bit past halfway and pitting, taking less fuel, and maybe right side tires may be a thing, but tire wear here is pretty even across all 4 tires, so 4 tires would give you the best chance of maintaining speed and grip at the cost of a few seconds on pit road. And Kyle Busch is doing a job blocking both lanes behind us, If Kyle is holding them both up, that will be good. And we're reeling in Brandon just a few tenths per lap. We're pretty even, Steven, as far as speed goes. We're able to hook that bottom a little bit better. Brandon running the middle groove to get that launch off of turn 2 and down the backstretch. It all comes out in the wash when we look at our lap times. We're pretty similar in speed. It's all about taking care of the tires throughout the course of this run and not abusing them. We kind of went in a little bit early in turn 3 there, lost a little bit of speed, but still within the draft, and speeds here get up pretty high. In the 200 range easily by the time we dive off into turn 1. And we are catching Alex Bowman just a little bit. I imagine he had a very fast car being on the pole. Unfortunately, not being able to really show it. He's in clean air, and he may be able to stay on the lead lap. It just depends on pit stop rotation and what happens here. Still waiting for that caution. If it were to come out, what would we do? We're almost to the fuel window now, so definitely filling up in probably 4 tires and trying to make them last the entire run. Ideally, we would want the caution to come out about halfway. But the AI doesn't usually do what we want it to do as far as ideal strategy goes, so we'll just play it by ear, of course, as the race continues. And maintaining that gap with Brandon, just a little bit gained in turn 1 there. But it's all about being right there in the draft, getting that pull and seeing those cars in the mirror shrink. And as this run goes on, I think that lead may increase. Their speed drop-off is tremendous. It's like someone flips a switch and the car is not good. I'm only seeing about 5 cars in the mirror now. So we've got some leeway as far as pit stops go. We could probably take 4 and still be okay. If they take 2, we'll be back there with them and able to outmaneuver them. So setting up for a good green flag pit stop here as things go. If the yellow were to come out and strategy comes into play, that's where we may be, fighting amongst other cars doing same things or different strategies. And Bowman looks like he's getting a little bit bigger in the windshield. We're not catching him by seconds, that's for sure. He's not a typical back marker. So we're not really reeling him in and passing him like he's standing still like you might see next week at Phoenix. But, if we can get that pull off Bowman and, stretch our top speed out just a little bit more, we'll use him to our advantage if we can. Following Brandon through that second groove, trying to maintain that speed. His car looks pretty stable. Ours is pretty stable right now as the tires wear on. Really loose to start, especially leaving pit road. The apron is very slick on cold, brand new tires. So when we do leave pit road, we have to be extremely mindful not to lose it down there in turn 1 and 2 before blending up on the racetrack. And we caught a head of steam there. We are pretty close to Brandon. I don't know if he had a bad turn or if he's saving his stuff, but we are here now. We might be able to make a pass for the lead in turn 3, depending on what Brandon does here. Scraping just a little bit. We get down to the bottom, lose a little bit of speed. You can see the speed difference there as he runs the middle groove. He extends by a few miles an hour on us down the back straightaway. But with us in tow, it may be okay. And yeah, we're really catching Bowman now. He pitted too early to make it on fuel, so it wasn't some miracle move by the crew chief to take fuel on lap 1 and go the rest of the way, that is for sure. So we'll just have to be mindful of Alex when he pits. He's the only one that can really slow our progress here as far as pit road entry goes. And looking behind, we have really stretched it out. They are in the middle of 1 and 2 now and coming off of turn 2 about now. So it looks like a 5 to 6 second gap. And that is just tremendous here at California. Usually at least the cars can stay within the draft and stay, at least single file throughout the course of a run, but we have definitely gapped them. I imagine their tires are pretty worn down, and that's why we are able to catch Bowman as quick as we are, because those guys behind us are going through the same thing he is. So good on myself and Brandon for taking care of the tires throughout this run, that's for sure. He looks to the outside here. If he can keep Bowman pinned down, we'll be able to get that run. Bowman cuts him off a little bit. He has to take an evasive maneuver. And hopefully he doesn't pit this time, where he might get into Brandon a bit. We'll see if we can follow him through on the bottom here. If we can clear Bowman by pit road entry, I'll be feeling pretty good. And luckily he doesn't pit. He's right there, right on our fender. And we do finally get that pull from Brandon to get around, and Alex Bowman will be officially 1 lap down now in our wake. He might be able to stay tucked in. No, he's really dropping off in turn 1. That looks to be the trouble spot for the AI right now, is that high-speed transition from the fastest part of the racetrack into the turn. So good on us. It's only a few laps away from pit stops, maybe even this time. We'll see if Brandon gets to pit road, and indeed it does look like he is on the bottom. We'll go around and lead a few laps. The car really pushing out. It's almost like the switch has flipped on our car now. Maybe staying out was not the best thing for us to lead that lap. But we'll definitely be coming down this time for 4 tires and fuel. Looks to be about 1 can to 1.5 cans, so we'll just be waiting on tires for a moment. Pit road is kind of tricky to get into. It's not exactly a straight shot. We'll be coming off the banking into a blind pit road. We'll be looking for the white line to brake left, and pit road entry will be just about at that point. Car really loose under braking here. There's the brake. We're going to turn down to 4,500 in second gear, and you can see Alex Bowman really drives it in for his pit stop. Everyone else is on pit road. Our stall is right at the pylon, right to the left. So we'll be looking on the wall for guys with tires, because there's a few pit crews that are not done in this car set. So I share a blue board with them. But there's our guys on the left. NASCAR official is out on pit road. Let's go 4 tires and fuel, boys. Let's go. Right side tires are on, going to the lefts. Everything is looking good. Fuel is in. Drop the jack, and off we go. Tear off is down and away. Get the tires spinning just a little bit. Alex Bowman off of pit road as well. And that's the end of pit road speed. We're going to be very careful getting onto the racetrack, looking in the mirror for Brandon to see where he is. And here he comes, and there he goes. And he is hauling the mail right now. We're still on the apron, not really able to accelerate. We're catching Bowman, so we're a little bit better off the exit of the apron, but still, Brandon going into turn 3 right there. We'll cycle back to the lead. Alex Bowman will stay 1 lap down. We'll be in second place, but you see the gap between us and Brandon is pretty big. We've got some cars in the mirror there for third place, and we have quite the job in front of us to make up about 6 seconds on Brandon. So where Brandon is now is where we were against the AI right before pit stops, and it's a pretty daunting looking task for sure. We'll make quick work of Bowman here, let him drop back to the guys behind, see if he can slow them down, and just set sights on Brandon here. He's got about a straightaway lead, and at California that is huge. Of course, 1 caution will bring us right to his rear bumper, and there's about 6 laps to go, so there is time for a quickie yellow and get back to racing and have a shot at it. But we're going to drive hard, see what we have here. I don't know if Brandon is the type to roll out of the gas whenever he sees he has a lead such as this, not to screw it up. Sometimes drivers make adjustments when they have a lead, and it throws off their rhythm, it throws off their deceleration marks and their braking points, and they end up making a mistake. And I don't know if Brandon is in race mode right now or conserve mode, but we are definitely within race mode. We're going to go as fast as we can, try to hit our marks as best we can. Tires shouldn't be an issue for the end of the race. We went a little bit past halfway, so the tires should be there for us at the end. Plenty of fuel to go the rest of the way, so if a yellow does come out, we're not pitting. And we have quite the lead on third place, so no need to look in the mirror. Let's hook the bottom here and see where Brandon is in relation each lap. We do have live timing and scoring we can look at, but I'm more of a visual person. So we did make up about a half a second on that lap, but still with 6 whole seconds to make up, You know, that's 12 laps of consistent catch-up in order to even get there. And getting there is one thing, passing them is another. But yeah, Brandon is getting a little bit bigger out of the windshield. So he's going into turn 1 as we are crossing the start-finish line. We'll use that marker next time by and see if we've gained anything. We drove into turn 1 just a little bit too hard there. We definitely don't want to overdrive. The car is on the free side at the start of this run. A few more laps in, we can really drive hard into the corners and be comfortable as we get through the turn. I think I've got a better turn 1 entry than Brandon, though, usually. So we're going to come off the turn. He was going into turn 1 when we were at the start-finish line. So there we are. Maybe another quarter second or so, another 2/10 chopped in. But consistent enough that we are going to run out of time by the time we get there. And we're almost to the point now where if a yellow comes out, the race will finish under yellow as well. No overtime rules here in 2003 season. Wasn't in the coding, and unfortunately modders can't touch that exe file. So yeah, it looks like we'll have to settle for second unless Brandon makes a mistake, and it has to be a big mistake. It can't just be overdriving a turn and losing a little bit of speed. We're going to have to work for it. I don't think we actually gained anything there, and I saw sparks coming from under Brandon's car, so he is still driving the turns pretty aggressively. So he isn't giving up his rhythm and his braking points at all. He's just going his race speed. So it's kind of encouraging that we're still catching him just a little bit while he's going at race speed. Maybe we do have a little bit faster car. I would have liked to see where we would have ended up. Perhaps if I had taken 2 tires, we would have came out about on time. I imagine Brandon got to pit road a lot better than we did, though. We were pretty conservative on that pit road entry. If I had to say what might have lost us this race, that would definitely be on me. I mean, obviously, it's not on Brandon when we lose the race, that's for sure. And yeah, we're seeing a little bit of lap traffic up there. I don't think that traffic is slow enough to cause Brandon a headache, and even if he was slow enough, the track is wide enough that Brandon can just adjust his line and go pretty much around without any issue. So driving hard, 1 lap to go. I mean, I feel like we're close. I feel like if we had 10 or 15 more laps, we might have been able to make a run at it. Although that would have also included another pit stop, so maybe not in the grand scheme of things, but nothing out of the mirror. So this was a clinic put on by myself and Brandon, really. We'll be turning up the AI a few percentage points for the next race and seeing how we fare. But this one looks to be all but over. Brandon will get his second win of the year. We'll still be looking for first, but a second place isn't bad for sure. We'll take it. Brandon will win California in the second race of the West Coast Swing. We'll take second, and it is going to be a long run back to third place. Let's go ahead and see your top 10 and where everyone is shaking out. Third place looks to be Tyler Reddick coming across the line. Good run, Tyler. Fourth place, Chase Elliott. Fifth place would be the pace car. No, Kyle Busch. Sixth place would be Joey Logano. Seventh place would be Kyle Larson. Eighth place goes to Jimmy Johnson. Ninth place goes to Austin Dillon. And rounding out your top 10 is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I want to take a look real quick at the start of the race here. We didn't get going right away, and you can see Brandon there, and this is the most exciting part for sure. 4 and 5 wide. If the AI were to make a mistake, this is when they would do it. I mean, De Benedetto was almost into Johnson, and if that had triggered the caution, but man, imagine if the race looked like that the whole time. That is a cluster, and that is NASCAR racing at its finest. So let's take a look at the standings. As of California, Brandon ahead with 2 wins, William Byron with 1. We are 42 points to the good. Tyler Reddick moves up into the transfer spot with that 3rd place. Austin Dillon and Bubba Wallace just 1 position ahead of the cutoff. Chris Buescher just 1 point behind, but between Truex and Logano, 10, 15 positions is all that separates. Next week, we go to the 1 mile speedway raceway. Handles like a short track, Phoenix. And definitely a completely different style of racing, but that will do it for me and this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week for Phoenix. Take care.